Hello and welcome to the Superpowered Dare Die team. I'm Peter.
And I'm Rick, and today we're reviewing Sean and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
And coincidentally, The Legend of the Ten Rings was the name of the movie you made in Thailand, Rick.
Yes, it was after I ate the famous Thai chili burger. Peter,
So this is a Marvel movie. If I'd walked into the lounge room and someone else was watching it first, I'd say, "What are you doing in my lounge room? Get out!" And then I'd wonder what they were watching. I wouldn't recognise this as a Marvel movie.
there's a point to that later on. I will also get to, but yeah, I guess this is the start of Phase 4. Yeah, so we had Phase 1, which was Iron Man. Phase 2, which was I don't know what kicked that off.
I'm not
Guardians.
sure.
So anyway,
Perhaps.
let's
So did
let's
you
get it.
know Shang Chi is a comic? Did you know
No, no,
that before? No, I've never
no.
heard of it either. But I have read that it's very little resemblance to the actual comic book, the
I do
movie.
remember. Yes, I do remember reading online somewhere how the director sort of kind of went, "This is a little known character, so we can just take this in any direction we want." So,
So we start off with like a Lord of the Rings prologue about our main character's father, how he attained the Ten Rings, and I actually thought that I'd like to watch that movie instead. Like that looked more interesting than the movie that we actually got.
I think this is something that Marvel does, though. They do things that could be better, like they little bits that they could make into a better long movie.
So I don't know what the backstory of the comic was, but yeah, it just looked, hey, let's find out about this guy getting the Ten Rings, and that would have been a more enjoyable movie, I think. Then we have another prologue where, like, I think it's several years later, where Shang Chi's dad, who now has the rings, meets Shang Chi's mother in a special. How would you describe where the mother lives?
All right, I'm going to be completely honest with you here, Peter. I tried to watch this movie twice over 2 nights and fell asleep both times. I'm not saying that's because it was a bad film, but it wasn't something that was engaging me. But I don't know where she was. Shangri La. I don't
Was
know
it
what I'm
that
supposed to
type of?
say.
It was like a mystical
A
village,
paradise-ish, yeah,
and
paradise
they
thing.
we find out later that they're guarding a gate to some evil demons that are going to destroy the world if they get through.
Okay, so thanks for pointing that. That I may have missed that part twice while I was asleep. So, um,
So they have a nice little meeting. I thought like there was a bit of a nicely choreographed scene. It reminded me of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but I still quite like the little meeting of the mum and dad in that little forest setting. Then there's
so
another prologue. I think there's three prologues at the before we start in the present day and meet our main character, and it's when Shang Chi is a little boy with his mother. And I just, while I was watching this, I just thought she's going to die. Like I knew that the mum was going to die, and so later we find out that was the case, and then we have flashbacks that say that he had a little sister and so forth. So their flashbacks were very prevalent in this movie. Like it seemed every 5-10 minutes there was another flashback.
I think flashbacks can be done well, especially when there's like a mind blowing moment at the end where something that happens at the start. Maybe it did in this. I don't know because I fell asleep. But something at the start um, is a setup for something that concludes it, or is the big centerpiece at the end.
So we go to present day and we meet Shang-Chi and we have a little bit of a montage of him getting ready, and then we have a bit of a fake out
That,
where we see a fancy car and he's a man steps out of a car.
yeah, yeah.
We think it's going to be Shang-Chi, but it turns out that it's not Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi
It's
is the valet.
Yeah, is that guy just a nobody? He's just a throwaway character to let. I don't
Yeah,
know if he came back
I
in.
don't
Yeah,
know.
but
But then we meet his sidekick, who's
Katie.
played by Awkwafina, who apparently was in Crazy Rich Asians, but I haven't seen that, so I didn't recognise her from anything. And based on this movie, I'm not really drawn to check out any of her other performances either.
Yeah, I found her. I don't want to say annoying because people do what they're directed to do, and she's playing a character, but I didn't.
She was kind of an
like
obnoxious character that was just there to throw out unfunny one-liners.
Yeah, and
but later on I'd like to talk about how I think her character could have improved a lot. But then we have a bit of a Ferris Bueller's Day Off scene where they steal the fancy car and drive around. But it did strike me that I just said I didn't recognise Awkwafina. Most of the characters in this movie I did not recognise, and it's unusual for me to be watching a movie where I don't really know. There are a few exceptions.
All right, I reckon. Okay, so there was 3 times I thought about. I know that guy.
Yeah,
so, but 2 of them.
The dad was played by Tony Leung, I think his name is pronounced. And I've seen the Infernal Affair movies.
I can't say I recognised him. I recognise I recognise Ronnie Cheng. I think Ronnie Cheng, an Australian comedian who was
I don't know him.
He was in the fight scene thing. He was kind of taking. I guess he was being a narrator, taking Sean and Katie around explaining what was happening, and he appeared in a couple of times, but I kind of liked him as a comedian. Can't say he grabbed me in this.
I'm not aware of him. Yeah. So after the Ferris Bueller's Day Off scene, we have a scene where they're out with some friends, and basically their lives are quite boring, and there's this whole thing about wasting their lives and not living up to their potential. That's a bit of a theme in the movie. The next day, they go off and drink and sing karaoke, and
which
then
is kind of a thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of that comedy moment. We could,
And then we have a scene in the morning where we go to they go to Katie's mum's house. Shang-Chi seems to be living in a garage, and Katie's living with her grandma and her.
So you're setting up these people as not living up to their potential. They're
not very successful people.
Yeah. And so, and the opening kind of sets up Sean or Shang-Chi as you're going to have this life. You're going to be this wonderful person. And then that cut to him working as a valet.
And they're justifying it. They're saying, what's wrong with being a valet? You know, you have to drive cars well and that sort of thing. And I guess that's a skill that does come in later for one of the characters. While they're at the table, the grandma says, when are you two going to get married? And they make a big deal about these two characters just being friends. We're just friends.
Then there's this bus scene, which is 25% real, 75% CGI.
And the actual stuff that looks, the real stuff looks okay. It's a bit Jackie Chan with Shang-Chi using the environment around him and using his jacket to fight. And then they have...
I've seen a better bus fight scene.
There's been a much better bus fight in a way better movie this year. Yeah. That's true.
It just I think this is one of the things, not with Marvel, but with big blockbusters where you got this amazing CGI scene of the bus going down the streets, but you can tell it's fake and
it takes you out of the
it really does.
There's no drama or excitement or any risk. What was I going to say? One of the villains has a machete for an arm. He's cutting through the midsection of the bus at ease. It just takes you out, and they're just after Shang-Chi. So there's one point where
the pendant, the green pendant.
Oh, they're just after his pendant, but they could have he gets out the bus and he's trying to get back in at some stage, he's outside of the bus, and I just thought, you're putting all these people at risk They're just after you. Get off the bus. Like, I just don't understand why he was trying to get back on all the time. Apart from the fact that it was an
We can have a
exciting
scene.
bus chase.
Yeah. But it's exactly right, and that's the thing.
So he could have protected all those other people by just staying off the bus.
no real narrative to the story. In the better movie we were talking about, in the bus fight, I believe which is Nobody. We may review that later on. He stops the bus to make sure that everyone else gets off, and so it's just him and the people he's fighting.
Yeah.
In this, it's a showpiece. It's what do they call them? A set piece.
Set piece. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the all right. We'll do this whole bus fight scene, and I was just while you were talking before, I'm having a look through my notes, and I can't tell you how many times I've written, I don't care, still don't care, I still don't care, I don't care anymore. Like, what?
So they do reach their goal of getting the pendant, and then Katie is saying to Sean or Shang-Chi, like, where did all that come from? Like, and so we get the backstory about who he really is.
I'll be honest, I may have fell asleep at the first time I watched this by this point, but I did watch it again.
Well, he gets we see him with a postcard that he believes is from his sister.
Oh, that's right.
And then I think that's when we get the flashback to find out that in those scenes in the prologue, in the third prologue, that his sister was actually there. So it's a bit of a reveal that he's got this sister that he's left. And then they decide to go to Macau, I think. And I just thought, hang on, he's living in a garage. The sidekick is living with her mum and her grandparents. How are they affording a plane ticket?
Hollywood movies.
Oh,
just
okay.
movies. I think not long after this, was there the fight with on the bamboo scaffolding or something like that?
That's that's coming up. So they get to Macau, and the address on the postcard leads them to this. It's like an underground fight club.
Oh, yeah.
That's streamed on the dark web. And we have a scene where the actor, the comedian that you mentioned before, takes them through and explains things to them. And he also tricks Shang-Chi into signing up to fight. So he said, like, he has to sign something, but it turns out that's a contract for him to fight. So we go in, we see a fight, and it's Wong from Doctor Strange, Benedict Wong. So there's one character that I knew the actor for. And he's fighting, I think he's fighting Abomination. That's what it looked like to me.
It looked like that to me too, yeah. Yes,
so I'm not sure
exactly
if that was him or not. But again, why? Like, isn't he off saving the world? Isn't he an Avenger now? Why is he in an underground fight club?
No, because...
And it looks like he was fixing a fight too. Like, they walk off together like they're friends.
But
do they need money or what? Like, I don't understand.
In the trailer to Spider-Man 3, yes, No Way Home. In that, there's a scene of Wong going, oh, I'm going on holidays, I'm out of here, and I'm wondering if that was related to
maybe
him leaving to do that.
Just in the context of this, it just seems like, we need to put, we got a cast of relatively unknown people here.
Yeah, and you got to
maybe we need to shove, and it doesn't seem like a Marvel movie. Let's just shove someone like a familiar face in who would fit. Yep. Oh, okay, we'll get Wong in. So that didn't make sense to me. But then Shang-Chi gets to into the ring to have a fight, and it turns out he's fighting his sister, and it turns out his sister is actually the owner of this place and running it all.
Yep.
And I couldn't tell you much about the fight, to be honest. I can't remember much about that fight at all.
I don't know. I'm just starting to remember
I've never seen the actress that plays the sister before too, so I didn't know her. Which I don't mind. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind seeing a movie with actors and actresses I don't know. I think that's really quite good. It's just unusual to be seeing, and probably very good in a Marvel movie, like a big blockbuster Disney movie, to have relatively unknown people in it. It's probably, credit to them. But it's just unusual. It's not what you expect. So then we go to a scene with him and his sister, and she's upset with him for abandoning him, and then the facility gets raided by the same people that were after Shang-Chi, and they're after the sister's pendant, and that's when we get the fight on the scaffolding that you looked at. So there's a fight, and the stuff on the scaffolding was, again, quite well choreographed, not too bad, but then you've got the comic relief Katie, like, put in danger. Like, it's like, why is she here? Like, what is she bringing to the party?
There are so many scenes in this film. I keep going, why is she here? Like, why did you get selected for this? Why are you doing this? She's just there and falls into these circumstances.
And we've got another flashback in here somewhere. I've written that in the notes. Another flashback. Yeah. And then the father does arrive, I think.
No, he does. And this is where I got confused, because he was, at the start of the movie, he was built up as this, I don't know, power-hungry, a bad person, basically. Not a nice person. But then he has dinner with his kids going, no, that was never me. Your mum changed me.
Yeah, his mum changed him.
They seem to change his character, and I wasn't sure whether, am I supposed to go, oh, all right, is this kind of a fake out sort of thing?
Well, I think it's because, he's become bitter again because of what happened to his wife, which we find out in another flashback. And it is
it is about the wife, isn't it?
Yeah. Because we know the mum's died, I think, at this stage, but we don't know how. So then they go to his dojo, and he tells us that he's the real Mandarin. He tells the kids that he's been hearing their mum, his wife, and that she's been calling him to go to the village to release her.
The village of was it where they first met? Yeah.
And we learn later that they didn't want him there. They were happy to have her there, but they didn't want him there. But I just thought at this stage, he's just sent all these hoodlums after his two children to steal these pendants.
Yep.
Why didn't he just contact them and say, hey, your mum's contacting me. Those pendants she gave you. I need them to find her.
Yep.
Would you mind? I know we haven't spoken for a few years, but, blood is thicker than water. Let's get together. I don't get why he needs to sit. It's two action scenes, but why were they needed? He just had to say, hey, kids, let's have a bit of a get together. It's been too long.
Yep. And let's see what these do, because, you've got one. Your mum is calling out for me. We need to find her. It was really stupid to go after them that way. And
so he puts the two pendants, or the stones from the pendants, in a dragon's eye, and we get this display of a fancy water display of a map which looks pretty good. But at the same time, I was thinking, well, who designed that? Who made that? Did the mum make that?
The dragon?
The dragon make that? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It looks nice. It's a nice bit of storytelling, but I don't... if you think about it for 5 seconds, you wonder why.
Hang on. Just hang on. Wait there. Let me look at my notes. Oh, I don't care.
So that...
Or I could have fallen... Oh, no, here we go. Capital letters, I don't care. Then I fell asleep.
And then I think the dad says, I think it's this bit where the dad says that they're going to go and attack this village. And the two children are against it. They don't want to go in anger or in war. So then
this is the point I don't... Yeah, so this is the point I don't get. So, because he's saying he can hear her voice. Her voice is calling to him from Taylo or whatever what it's called. So he needs to go and attack the village to get her back. I think that's the idea. So he started off as being getting the rings after power and all this, and we see scenes earlier on where his kid's getting beaten. His son's getting beaten, like in training because he's not doing things right.
Another flashback.
And then we have the scene with him having a meal with his kids after he's sent people to, I guess, take things away from them against their will.
Well, he said, "Oh, I knew that they'd have trouble killing you or something." Or, I don't know if it was killing.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
And I was right.
Yeah,
Like, come on, just ring him up.
Yeah.
Get on Zoom. Have a Zoom call and have a chat.
But so this is the point where I'm going. I can't tell. Is he supposed to be a bad guy or a good guy now, or is this a fake out?
It's not black and white like that. I don't think he's
No,
supposed to be a layered thing. I just don't think that they did it very well.
Yeah.
So they're thrown in jail, and they find out that there is someone else in the jail. Who's that, Rick?
I'm gonna hope this isn't a part that I was asleep for, but was it Trevor?
It's Trevor, played by Sir Ben Kingsley.
Sorry.
Sir Ben Kingsley, and
Yep.
he's got a little furry companion that doesn't seem to have a face. It's like a mythical
Yes, that's
creature.
right. Yeah.
Looks like a footstool, and he can communicate with it. And he has a funny line that he says, "Oh, like what I think the comic relief says, oh, what is that?" And he says, "Oh, you can see it. Thank God, I thought I was hallucinating it." But it seems his only purpose in the whole being in this movie is that he can communicate to this furry owl-looking creature for whatever reason. Because he doesn't do anything else. He doesn't do anything else in the movie.
I actually, like, when he turned up, I actually sat up for a bit, and I'm not completely well versed in the Marvel universe, but I know he was supposed to be the Mandarin in Iron Man, and everyone was so disappointed when he turned out to be just Trevor, the actor. But there's been kind of, I guess, chat in the background about no, he is actually the Mandarin. It's just Mandarin. But I think there was even an online video sort of making you go, oh, okay, I'm not sure, we're doubting.
Okay.
So to bring him back into this, because the 10 rings...
As the actor.
10 rings is supposed to be his power.
Yeah.
So maybe this is setting it up for him to go at the end going, ha ha ha, I'm here, I fooled you all. I'm not really Trevor, but...
no, it wasn't.
But no, but... This is
he was just an actor, no. And who's out there going, oh geez, I really wonder what happened to that Trevor character from Iron Man 3.
Which is why I think they're building him up to be the actual Mandarin.
I think they just wanted to get Ben Kingsley back.
Or he had some big gambling debts he needed to pay off.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
But
I do like Ben Kingsley, and he was quite pleasant in it. He just had very little to do.
But I can't think that they bring him back into this without having a bigger plan, because that's what they do in these things. They have a bigger plan.
I think it was. We've got a cast of fairly unknown people. Well, how are we going to draw these Marvel people in? I think it was just a little Easter egg, really. I can't see any other reason.
I'm going with bigger plan.
All right. But he's just an actor, though. He's not.
So if the 5 people watching this are still watching this 10 years' time when they're doing the end of Phase 4 and 5 and 6, and we'll find that I'm right, that he was part of a bigger plan. So thank you, 5 people.
But he's not the Mandarin, because the father already said he was the Mandarin.
No, but that's the whole thing.
That's why he locked him up, because he... wasn't happy that he was pretending to be him.
I might have been asleep for that part.
So then we have an escape scene where the sister breaks through a wall, and they get into the cars in the garage and steal the cars, steal the keys so other people can't get through. And it looked very CGI to me. I don't know whether it's because they were in CGI cars or if they're in a CGI garage, but it just did not look real at all. And it seemed pretty easy to get out.
So I will make comments here, but you're flying solo a bit here because I think this middle section is the part that I don't remember at all.
Well, they get all. It's really the last bit of the second act, really.
Okay.
And then they drive off, and they get to the village, and we've got Trevor in the passenger seat with his Morris, I think his name is. I wrote down Ben Kingsley's the Morris Whisperer because he could understand what he's saying. And so they go into this magic bamboo forest, and Morris is giving him directions.
Yes.
So we have this sequence.
I do remember that.
And I actually quite enjoyed that sequence. I thought that they did that pretty well. Like I liked the bird's eye view, and I liked the scenes in the car.
Yeah.
And
that bamboo forest.
Then I had to think about it for 5 minutes. And I thought, well, hang on, this has been the way that they've protected this village for thousands of years. I think they said 4,000 years they've been there. So what did they do before they had cars? Because they would have just got squashed because they had to get pretty fast through that bamboo forest in those cars to get there.
But isn't that how the dead got? Because I remember the scene going back in the earlier thing. They just, with a army, didn't they just march through that same bamboo forest?
Were they in jeeps or something? I don't remember. I don't know.
Oh, yes, they were. They were in jeeps and they got thrown off the side of the cliff. That's right. Yep.
And that's how he got through. But, if they'd made this as a secret passageway to this place, horseback, walking, they just wouldn't have made it. So
anyway,
we get to
let's go fast.
We get to the third act. They come into Shangri-La or wherever they are.
I believe it's called Talo.
We see the frost wolves from Star Wars The Last Jedi, and we see lots of other Chinese mythical creatures.
I'm glad I was asleep by this stage.
They looked a bit. I mean, they are going to look unrealistic, but I like the fact that they were based on Chinese mythical creatures. There's a scene later on, another flashback with the mum, and you see the two statues of the lion creatures behind her. So we see them in what's the village called?
Talo. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that properly, but Talo, Talo. And
then we get to we meet their auntie, who's played by Michelle Yeoh, who I do know. I know her from Police Story 3. When she rode a motorbike onto a moving train. That's probably the first time that I saw her or anything. And then she went on to do Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and lots of things. Yeah, she's been in a lot of things.
And I do. Okay, so I may have still been awake for this part, but because I remember seeing her and I was watching, going, I know this actress, and it took me ages to work out. So where I know her from is the new Star Trek. She was Captain Giorgio or something like that, called Captain Giorgio. I think Giorgio. But yeah.
And she's had a fairly long career. When she first was in Police Story 3, they were billing her as the female Jackie Chan because she was doing her own stunts and stuff. But she's actually probably a very solid actress. She's not just a stunt woman.
She's good. No, she's good.
And then we learn the backstory about this village, how they've been training for 4,000 years to protect the world from this evil forces, demons or whatever they are on the other side of this gate that's in the mountain at their village. And as soon as she talked about 4,000 years of training, I just thought it's going to be the newcomers that save the day. Like, these people have been training for 4,000 years, but it's going to be Shang-Chi and his crew that are going to, solve the problem.
Yeah, of course, because why would you train for 4,000 years? You can't do anything.
And so we've got the training montage. We've got the comic relief sees an old lady carrying some archery bows, and she drops them. So she helps them, and then let's train
Katie?
comic relief to Katie. I
Katie.
can't remember her name.
She turns into an archer. Yeah, so
Yeah,
like,
she does.
Why are you still here?
Yeah, well, so they need to give her something to do. So they train her to be an archer, and spoilers, but she ends up being the one that saves the day at a pivotal moment by shooting an arrow into a monster's neck. But this is where perhaps where
I was
talk
awake
about
for that bit,
yeah.
and I don't remember it. It's a movie.
So this is where I thought I had a thought about how they could have improved her character.
Okay.
I thought maybe
And hang on, can I just go a different actress? Maybe
Perhaps.
the one that played Rose in
The Last Jedi, another Last Jedi reference. So they're both two characters that are not living up to their potential. So you have a simple scene where they're at the kitchen table at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
Maybe we see some archery trophies. We see have a little backstory that she was an archer and she choked at a pivotal moment.
I like that.
Yeah, so and then she just gave up archery. Like she was set for an Olympic career or something, and she choked at a moment and she just gave it all away. And then now she gets into a situation where she can use those skills, and then it makes more sense than her just learning it. So she's got something to do.
Yeah,
and then maybe all the cynical wisecracks are just her way of covering up. Like it gives a couple of layers to a character. Then we have another flashback about the mum's death. We have another flashback within that flashback about the dad taking Shang-Chi to witness him murdering the people that attacked the mum. And then we find out that Shang-Chi was sent on a mission to kill the man that was responsible for ordering the death of the mum. And the big reveal is Shang-Chi murdered his mother's killer.
Okay.
And he was trained to be an assassin, and he says, I'm going to do what, like the comic relief says, what are you going to do when your dad gets here? And he says, I'm going to do what I was trained to do. I was trained to be an assassin. I'm going to kill my father. And at this point, I'm thinking maybe a phone call. Say, hey, Dad, we're at the village. Mum's not here. Turns out that those demons behind the gate that can come in and destroy the universe, they're just really capable of making voices and make people think that they're being spoken to by their loved ones. And they want to use you because you've got your 10 rings. They know that you can use your 10 rings to break the gate down. So maybe not come in.
So, I do remember coming back in saying, because the dad was saying he could hear his wife through there, but then I remember hearing someone saying, no, they're false voices. I remember waking up and just going, hang on, am I watching Crouching Tiger? Because there was a lot of slow motion martial arts and dancing through the air sort of stuff. Didn't think I'd miss much at all, to be honest.
You probably didn't. But yeah, so then the dad and his army arrive, and he doesn't even try and say, hey, Dad, look, we've been here for days. It's not Mum. It's, these demons. Doesn't even, but they just start fighting. They have a fight near the gate, and the gate opens up. All these demons are coming out, and then the two armies fighting each other decide to work together because it's the only way that they're going to fight, have any chance against these demons. Oh, okay. And so they get the good dragon, which is pretty cool looking dragon, like a Chinese dragon, who's helping them fight all the little demons, and the big evil demon comes out and they have a big fight, and it looks like the good dragon is going to succumb, but Katie comes out with her archery skills and shoots that monster in the neck, which saves the good dragon.
I do remember that part. I was awake for that part.
I also thought they've got all these people that have trained 4,000 years to protect the world from this gate, but there's nobody at the gate. There's not anybody guarding the gate. The dad gets there really easily, and that's the fight that causes everything to get released. But you think that they would have people there, like
It was
waiting.
their day off.
Yeah,
RDO.
possibly. They were too busy training newcomers to
Mm.
string a bow.
I don't
And
know.
and what's Trevor doing? Like he's just pretending he's dead. He's lying there. His little
Okay.
friend Morris comes along. Morris is a bit upset and he says, "It's okay, I'm not dead," or something like that. But yeah, he's doing nothing. There's no purpose to him being, and I don't even know what happens to him at the end. There doesn't
Um,
seem to be. I don't think there's a scene that sort of finishes off his story.
I think he's there, and which is still. I still think that there's a bigger picture for him. I think they just shoved him in here, making him look incompetent because there's a bigger story for him. But I've been known to be wrong before. Just ask my boss. But I don't know. Like this, it's not a horrible movie. It's not terrible. I didn't enjoy it. I just found it bland.
I found it a bit bland as well, and I reckon kids would like it. I think,
Yeah.
but there would be some people that would really enjoy it. But I can't say I really liked it. I thought it was probably better than Black Widow, but not by a lot. And that's probably not a great recommendation either.
So going, I guess going to back what I was saying before about Marvel Phases 1, 2, and 3, with their 24 movies, and I could probably name 8. I can't work this camera out. I could name 8 that. Thank you.
Hang on.
That's okay. I could, like, out of their 24 movies, I could name 8 that were actually really good. The rest were competent, and there was some in there that I just go, no. Like, I know there are a lot of lovers of Black Panther out there, and I did not like Black Panther. I didn't like Captain Marvel. I didn't like, but I loved Ant-Man 1 and 2, whereas a lot of people didn't like
I didn't
those
like
two.
the first Ant-Man. I liked the second one, but the first one was a bit.
Oh, I really love both of those movies. So
Yeah.
it's one of those. It's just one of those things. But if this is
Everybody's
setting
got
up,
different taste.
yeah, which is why no one's watching this. But if they're going to set up a story for Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy, no one knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy was, and that movie was, in my opinion, it was great. It was enjoyable. You felt for the characters.
Yeah, it's my favourite Marvel movie.
Yeah, yeah. Outside of Endgame, I think it would be mine too. Yeah, it's.
And so then we have some end scenes, Rick. Did you see
Yes,
the end credit scenes?
Yeah,
So
the Easter eggs.
are they setting the sister up as like a villain, or is she? Like, I guess you don't know the character either, do you?
No, I don't know. Like, because now I'm getting confused about the end of the film and the Easter egg. There was two Easter eggs.
There was a scene where
They were talking to the sister and her husband again at the restaurant, and then Wong came through.
yeah, and
yeah,
then we have Bruce Banner and Captain Marvel,
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
Captain Marvel just nicks off.
As she does all the time.
And then we have a scene where the sister is setting up her dad's dojo, and they pan out, and it's all got graffiti
right.
on it, and we have the comedian that you mentioned before.
Yeah. So he comes back in. So, but interestingly enough, Bruce Banner was back to Bruce Banner, not smart, intelligent Hulk, and I think he had his arm in a sling.
Okay, I didn't notice that, but I did notice he was back to Bruce Banner.
And but I think there was something about an arm in a sling or something like that. So something's happened. Something's gone on. This is kind of the introduction film.
So I guess they're setting up a
reveals.
new. Is there going to be like a new team of Avengers or something? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do I care? No.
So would you recommend Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Rick?
Look, I'm not going to say don't go see it, because there will be people there that like it. I'm sick of movies where I don't care about anything that happens. It's just like kind of go from one CGI thing to the next one to the next one. So I didn't like it, but I'm not going to not recommend it because there will be people that did.
Yeah,
It's not a terrible film.
I'm probably feeling similar.
Mm.
I think other people might like it. It didn't do a lot for me, but
Yeah.
it wasn't terrible. No. All right. Well, if you enjoy listening to us ramble on about movies, would you please like and subscribe our YouTube channel? You can follow us on social media. We've got a Facebook page, a Twitter account, and an Instagram account. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
All right. See you guys.